"34 minutes after the hour." This is always very exciting when we have the co-chair of the Democratic Women's Caucus, Representative Brenda Lawrence, who just wrote a great piece about what is in these bills. Representative, good morning. So nice to see you again.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
You have the most dignified background of anyone we've talked to. Look at that. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
So, we obviously, with Joe Manchin's press conference yesterday, and then Representative Jayapal came out, it seemed to soothe us all yesterday because we thought we were getting a vote today, right? And I mean, there is so much great stuff in this that we're going to get to. But can you just bring us up to date on the sausage making? Where are we?
It's absolutely sausage making. And I'm telling everyone to take a deep breath. We pride ourselves on being the party of the big tent. Well, guess what? When you have the big tent, you have multiple voices and concerns. We as a Democratic Party and our president, we have been consistent in the quality of services and policies and laws and funding that's in this bill. And we are confident that we're going to move forward with that being our base. There are some things we're talking about. Immigration is one. How much money we're going to spend on that. We know that the bird lady has to play in this. So this is my first time getting really acquainted with the bird lady. And so it's going to be a wash or a scrub, and we're trying to make sure and understand the underlying prominent issue is to get a bill to the Senate that will be passed.
Yeah.
And so people are frustrated. Just pass the bill and force them to vote on it. Well, let's face the reality. It has to pass the bird lady. We need Sinema and we need Manchin.
Yeah.
And so their voices have been elevated, and it's frustrating for me because I don't hear them disagreeing with the policies and the programs that's in the bill. They're picking apart,
Right.
what's the CBO score and how is this going to impact our
I
overall debt.
feel like our big tent, they are the two that keep knocking the polls over, right when we almost have the tent all the way up. Yeah. We're like,
I feel that.
You're like, what? We almost had this ready to go. So, yeah, I mean, here's one thing is I do trust President Biden. I trust Speaker Pelosi. And clearly what Representative Jayapal is saying is that, Manchin and Sinema must have given the president private assurances. It would be fairly astounding, wouldn't it, if they went back on that and, I don't know how to say it, dirty tricked the entire Democratic caucus and by not voting for these things when they said they will. Where do you think that's at, and what time frame are we on?
So I have been introduced to two senators that I did not know. The way that they have interjected themselves in their personal feelings versus looking at the good. And, we say constantly, the good cannot be the evil of getting the job done, of the perfect. Yeah. So we're not going to have a perfect bill.
No.
And so please, come on, let's get with this.
Yeah.
And I'm not asking anyone to go against their principles, but doggone it, we got to get this bill passed.
Thank you. And Representative, this is my frustration with the mainstream media. It's all about the process and the vote counting and the politics and not what's in the bill. And so thank you for speaking out on that, because it is still transformational. I mean, almost like the most since FDR. I mean, you said on Twitter, childcare isn't just a problem for families. It affects the whole economy. That's why Build Back Better agenda increases access to affordable childcare, capping costs at 7% of a family's income. That's huge, in addition to providing universal pre-K and the child tax credit. So let's talk more about what's in it, because I find that that's going to be, I mean, as the chair of the Democratic Women's Caucus, I mean, this is not a women's issue. How, as you say in your op-ed, about how deeply this has affected women and families, this whole COVID thing, right?
I had a town hall, and one of the men that were participating said, Congresswoman, I pay more for childcare than I do for my mortgage. Just think about the economic impact that has on America, where we're going to have to take care of our children. It's not optional. We can't just lock them up in the house. And so, my ability to purchase, my ability to infuse earnings that I get into the economy is being stripped away. We know that the impact, however, on women when there's a lack of child care and there's a lack of elder care directly impact women. And the numbers have shown how many women have left the workforce during this pandemic. And
Yeah.
they left for a number of reasons, but we cannot build back better. And please understand this, and I've said this to the president, and Nancy Pelosi joins me in saying this. We cannot build back better if we don't build back with women. And we know that looking at the salaries of the predominant workforce for child care and elder care are women.
Yeah.
We give them the responsibility to take care of our most precious and loved commodity, our children and our elders.
Right.
Like, I'll do anything for my child. It's nothing I wouldn't do for my mother and father. But you insult the worker every day who sits there and holds your elder's hand sometime till their last breath. And the children that we know that we have to care for while women go to work and families, and we give them wages that
Yeah.
keep them in poverty.
Well,
So
as you said on Twitter and in your piece, we cannot expect the United States to fully recover if women are being left behind. And you said, I'm proud to support home care workers who are disproportionately black and brown women caring for our seniors, people with disabilities. It's time we invest in care and build back better. I have a 98-year-old mom with Alzheimer's in a facility. And this speaks, I've been saying all morning, Representative, so much to me because
yes,
it is unaffordable to take care
yes.
of your loved one at home. And that's one of the things that this bill addresses, right?
And so often people talk about the elder care. It's 24-hour, just like children. It's 24-hour care. And we unfortunately so often have to make a choice between providing the best care that we can outside of our home. And we should not be held hostage to a broken system that doesn't recognize the importance. The other thing I want to bring up is the universal pre-K. Now,
Yeah.
we talk about the divide in education. We talk about the challenges of the minority and poor communities and academic success. It has been proven by data that if you give a child pre-K, which prepares them, gives them the foundation to learn, gives them the foundation to begin that thought process, they are more likely to graduate from high school. Think about the social programs that are put into people who can't read, who didn't finish high school. And we are doing universal pre-K. One time in our country, we decided every child in America will have free kindergarten to 12th grade education because we know it's a global issue. We're competing with a workforce on a global level, and we were not going to be second. Now is a time for us, you talk about transformational, that we're going to invest again in the education
Yeah.
of our children, which equates to a trained workforce.
Yeah. Well, you had said you can't just lock the kids in the house, which I don't have kids, so I did not know that. That's what I would do. But I kid, Representative. But I mean, you cited some of the numbers in your piece, which again, I don't understand why people don't realize this is the whole economy, basically. You said nearly 2 million women have left the workforce amid the pandemic. The women's labor force participation is at its lowest since 1988. For far too
Yes.
many, child care is out of reach. Elder care has become too expensive. Working mothers are forced to choose between their paycheck and caring for their loved ones. And so you say we're unlocking the full economic potential of working parents through investments in all of this, universal pre-K, child care, elder care, the child tax credit, high quality preschool for more than 6 million children. We're making childcare affordable and accessible for mothers and fathers so no family has to pay more than 7% of their income for this much needed care. That's huge. This will be life changing for parents in my district in Michigan who told me directly, as you just said, that their childcare is more than their mortgage. I mean,
Yes.
that's just untenable for families. So and you say we talk about childcare, home care workers, and it is, I just, I don't know why the media doesn't focus on what's in these bills, because that must
Yes.
so frustrate you, these polls showing most Americans have no idea. They have no idea what's in the bills.
don't
All they know
know
is the
what's
price
in
tag
the
and that
bill.
there's fighting between,
Yes.
yeah.
And there's another dynamic that I want people to pay attention to. When we talk about women in the workforce, and we have two bills before us, it's the BIF, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Bill, right?
Right.
Do you know 90% of those jobs in the infrastructure will go to men?
Oh,
So here we are. When you talk about transformational, I'm chair of the Women's Caucus, and I'm on the executive committee for the Black Caucus. If you really want transformational change, I was a mayor. I want this BIF. We need it.
yeah.
But I can tell you that a pothole is an inconvenience. But when you start investing in children, when you start investing in the workforce of women, when you start talking about transportation and those issues, we
Yeah.
need that.
Yeah.
And I'm a strong component of investing in removing lead from our water. That to me is something coming from Michigan, knowing what happened in Flint. We must do that. But 90% of those jobs are targeted to men.
Yep.
So wake up, America, and
Yeah.
all those who are listening. Let's talk about the women. Abigail Adams wrote a very strong letter to the president as the first lady and said, do not forget the ladies. And I told President Biden that, do not forget
Yeah.
the women. And that's when we start tying these two bills together. Investment in our infrastructure, investment in the people of this country.
And again, with the media, they don't cover that 100% of Republicans are against all of this. 100%. You don't have one of them that will vote for any of this. We have 98% of Democrats that are for all of this. We have 2 Democrats that we're trying to obviously bring along here. We have in all the polling, as you've probably seen, 70-something% of Americans are for each of these things when they're told what they are and what's in it. And so as you close your piece, you say this is a once-in-a-generation investment in the American people. It's one we haven't seen since President Franklin Delano, the New Deal, 90 years ago. We're lifting women out of poverty, educating our children, lowering costs. This agenda is about who we are as a country and the values we represent. That rockstar cheers for this, right? So let's get this done this week. Let's get this done. Let's finally make it infrastructure week.
Let's go, people. Let's go. You know, I want to be able to write a page in my life book that said, during my time at the seat of power, I was instrumental in changing the direction for women and children in this country. This is a big deal. It's a big freaking deal.
Oh, okay.
And we need to get it done.
You were almost the first representative that ever dropped an F-bomb on our show. But that's scary.
Sean
But you
Patrick
pulled
Maloney
it back, and I didn't represent.
I caught it. I caught it.
Listen, I applaud your restraint. I don't have it. Representative Brenda Lawrence, you are so fantastic. Please come back anytime. Okay, thanks so much.
I will take care. I just want to note, I witnessed your dog open the door behind you while
Yes.
you were talking.
Well, I don't have human children, but I've showed them how to use opposable thumbs, which is I think some parenting. All right, thank you, Representative.
Bye-bye.
All right,
Have
there
a
she
great-
goes, Brenda Lawrence. She's fantastic. What's not fantastic about her?
Ow.